happy 45th anniversary to the original My Bloody Valentine. Oh man, I remember learning about this from its VHS cover at Blockbuster in the mid-90s. When we lived in that house that was down to that, it was so close to that Blockbuster, you go to that trail behind it, walk all the way up to it, and just go in there, browse around, but going to the horror section was always the funnest part about living there, because you just go there and just check out all those VHS covers, all those cool horror covers, looking in the back, seeing what grabs your attention. And despite the fact that we were there for, well, it was only under a year, because the couple that lived there got a divorce. The wife wanted the divorce, and she had no place to live, so we had to move out. So yeah, we were only there for 1 year. That's when I was in 8th grade. But I do remember looking at all those VHS covers, and I remember seeing My Bloody Valentine. And even though I saw the cover, picked it up, looked on the back, it just never really caught my attention enough to be interested in renting it. It eventually escaped me in the late 90s, but when my mom got me this book called Golden Hound, I was always looking through it. Excuse me. And then I saw My Bloody Valentine, and that's when it came back to me. But I didn't finally see it until the mid-2000s. I was in Hastings, browsing around, saw the DVD that only had the movie, no special features. And I'm like, let's watch this, okay? I've never seen this. I remember seeing that VHS cover, but I'm going to be honest with y'all. I really do not like this film's theatrical poster. It's the eyes on the gas mask. It just makes it look more like a stupid horror comedy, something like Student Bodies. That's probably the main reason why I never rented it, even though the idea of a killer minor, because I remember looking in the back, and I might have a Mandela effect, but I remember seeing a minor on it, so I knew it was about a killer minor. Well, obviously the poster let us know that, but yeah, that poster was just too much of a silly horror comedy look, but the DVD cover gave it a better look, even though it wasn't that great either, but it finally got me interested in watching it. But I watched it, I liked it, but it was one of those movies that I didn't get blown away at first, but the more I watched it, the more I enjoyed it, and now I do love that film. But I kind of do regret not renting it in the 90s. Just because whenever we lived there, I'm going to be honest, I only rented a small, limited number of horror films from that thing. Death Ship and The Lift are the only two that I remember renting. But yeah, I did rent Child's Play 2 and 3 like no freaking tomorrow. Oh boy. But, man, when I first watched that film, I was like, okay, this is pretty good and all that stuff, but yeah, the twist at the end really wasn't needed. Well, the movie starts off with two people in a mine, dressed up in mining outfits. The one of them undresses, showing us it's a beautiful lady. The male throws the pickaxe on the wall, just stabs it into it. But as soon as he sees that heart on her boobie, he goes into a fit of rage and just hits her in the other pickaxe, making her scream. We see the title with the My Bloody Valentine with the two hearts, and then one drips animated blood, which to me is kind of unnecessary. I'm like, seriously? Because that's why I started thinking, okay, this is a stupid horror comedy. But then the movie gets going, I'm like, oh, it's not. Okay, let's go. Because it started off like Friday the 13th. We meet the silly people and all that stuff and everything, and okay, I'm guessing that the actual poster was misleading, because this is not a stupid horror comedy. It does have humor, but it's not Student Bodies. Oh boy. Well, we meet TJ, Axel, and the rest of the gang. TJ and Axel are the two leads. Well, TJ's more the lead than Axel is. They're in a love triangle with Sarah. Basically, TJ and Sarah were together. He moved away. Axel and Sarah hooked up. TJ's now back, and of course he wants Sarah back. Well, the others are basically planning to do this party. Well, everyone's is, because there's like an annual thing going on for Valentine's Day. However, there's a heart-shaped candy box there that's for one guy. I believe it's the mayor. I can't remember who that guy was, but I think he's the mayor. Hold on. Yeah, it's the mayor. He's with the sheriff, and he basically reads the note. He opens it up. There's a human heart inside it. He goes, "Oh, God." And that's when he tells the story of Harry Warden. 5 miners were down there. The 2 supervisors were more interested in going to the party instead of checking the methane gas levels. I believe it's what that gas is called. And it shows them laughing for some reason as they're leaving. Oh, who cares about those guys? Let's go to the party. I don't know why they had to laugh. It's just like they just did it for no reason. They even do it in that evil, like, dark way for this flashback. Like, they don't care at all what happens to those guys. And, well, there's an explosion. They're buried alive. The party's going on. And then they're dug out, but only Harry's alive, and Harry is now gone insane, and he is eating this, I believe it's an arm, whenever one of the mayor reveals that he found him. When they miss his shot, like, it is kind of funny, but unfortunately it's not a stupid horror comedy, like the poster made it look like. Okay, Harry comes back a year later. He killed the two supervisors who... we only see one get killed, but the way he's dressed, it's like he got no penalty for that. I mean, seriously, shouldn't this guy have been fired and probably incarcerated for what happened? Those 4 other miners that died, those are on him and the other supervisor, but for some reason there didn't seem to be a penalty, even though he's telling the story that they knew that. Well, Harry kills the guy, cuts his heart out, and then they say that Harry comes back every year, even though they also point out that he's been locked up to make sure that party never happens, because he obviously hates the party and blames him for what happened to him. Well, that night, one of the lady is in the, what do you call it, laundromat, and she gets a Valentine's Day card. Roses are red, violets are blue, one is dead, soon you will too. I think that's how it said. The light comes out, the miner's there, coming out with a pickaxe. She keeps opening the dryers, thinking that that's gonna stop. He just closes them. She does the old run through the curtains, but he grabs her and yanks her back, puts her down, hits her with that pickaxe. And the next day when the sheriff comes in, he's looking for her, and he's like, he doesn't check the dryer that has blood on it, and when he checks the one next to it, he pulls out all these clothes, and like, why is he doing this? And then that dryer bursts open with her burnt up body, and the unrated version, you can see it swirl around. Man, I bet that she must stink like no tomorrow, and that odor would have obviously filled that area, where he'd be like, what the heck is that? Who farted? Well, they decided to just not tell everybody what's happened, just say she died of a heart attack to not put the place in a panic. I don't know why they would do that, but there are people that have a right to know that there's a killer on the loose. That way they can check, they can't kill a lot. They check their backs, look around, arm themselves. Well, the bartender does not like the fact that they're going to throw this party, because even though the dance has been canceled, the mine workers and all the number of people are going to throw a party anyway. He sets up this dummy that just goes like this, under the impression this is going to like ruin their party, which I don't know how this would work. He might have spooked them at first until they realize it's just a dummy, and then they're like, or considering how many show up, I think they can overpower him if they thought it was real. But after he tested a few times, he tested one more, then the real miner shows up and gets him like this. Now, the unrated version has the pickaxe going through his eye with it hanging out. He then gets dragged off, and they set everything up. They're now throwing the party, and, well, tension between Axel and TJ is rising, because TJ did do the cliche where he grabs Sarah. He makes her drive off with him so he can explain why he left and why he's back. And also there's a junkyard scene where they're cooking on I think it's the engines. And and Axel and TJ are now going at it. They go at it in the mine, and they're just, it's like, we've seen this before, and I think we already know what's going to happen. The killer is obviously going to be one of them. But which one is it? Yeah, I think at this point you would probably get the message loud and clear that one of them is the killer and Harry is really not. Well, when they go to the party, Dave goes to get something to eat, but the miner forces his face into the boiling water with the hot dogs. And then we get Jack and Sylvia go to the shower area. and then when Jake leaves to get some beer, Sylvia's in there, the costumes come running down, the showers turn on, the miner grabs her and impales her into one of them. Jack comes back, as he sees water coming, he's like impaled her in the back of the head, and the water's coming out of her mouth. And when in the party, TJ and Axel are going at it. But the weirdest thing about this argument is whenever TJ grabs Axel, goes, "That's it." I'm like, did his voice give out? Because that happened to me once when I was in high school. When I called out the teacher, my voice just quit on me, and everybody laughed at me. But I think that may have been what happened, because TJ, the way he says it, it really sounds like his voice just gave out, "That's it." It's like the funniest line in the movie. But it's not a stupid horror comedy, thank goodness. Well, they decide to go to the mines. The sheriff finds out they're throwing a party, and the sheriff is trying to figure out the place that Harry was supposed to be locked up at, if he's there. He gets he calls a woman. She tells him it's just these three options, take your pick. And then when he hangs up, he doesn't even say goodbye. He slams it down. If it was a stupid horror comedy, he would have smashed the phone, and her receiver would have blown up. Kind of like when, I think there's a Donald Duck cartoon where Daisy Duck hangs up so hard that Donald's phone explodes. Okay. Some of them then go to the mine. 3 couples. No, 2 couples and 1 extra. Howard, the comic relief character, the practical joker. But then Dave and Sylvia are discovered. They now know Harry's on the loose. They get out of there. But TJ and Axel go down to the mine, look for them. Okay, they split up. TJ finds Howard, Patty, Sarah, and Hollis, the big guy. But Axel's not with them. Where could he be? Well, TJ, Hollis split up. Howard has to stay there with Patty and Sarah, and Howard is the comic relief, which means he's not brave. He's constantly crying out. Well, Hollis finds the other couple, and they are screwed big time because this drill has made shish kebab out of them. And then Harry, or should I say, no, the miner, I wish it was Harry, puts the nails in a nail gun, shoots Hollis in the head twice. The deleted scene makes it drag on a lot longer than it needs to, so that probably I would say the theatrical version is a little bit better. He blinds Hollis with his lights when he puts it like that. He slaps the hand down and gets him. Hollis doesn't die instantly. He starts walking off in the lump, but when he comes to the girls and Howard, that's when he dies. They see the miner coming, and well, this is 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 27 seconds when we see the miner take off whenever Howard runs off and leaves the 2 ladies. And then 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 57 seconds, Axel is shown creeping up, making you think it is the miner. It's him. He's the killer. Man, did he do this in speed timing? Because later on, I'll tell you why. Okay. He shows up. He sees Hollis is dead. Then TJ joins up. They go to the elevator shaft. The controls are damaged, so they start climbing up. They end up pulling Howard's body off. He's now been hung, but his body snags so hard his head comes right off, and his body just drops. They go back down for some reason when they could have easily just kept climbing up. But of course, we had to have the big showdown in the mine. Well, Axel falls off the side where there's a 60-foot water with it 60 feet deep. He does this off camera. We just hear the, oh, yeah, it's definitely him. But of course, later, TJ goes down this other tunnel while the girls go down this way. Then there's a cave-in. It's like they were going to do 2 alternate endings. Axel's the killer in this ending, and TJ's the killer in this ending, but instead of releasing them separate like Clue, they just put them both together. By now, you know it's Axel, because he was the one that had the accident off camera where you hear TJ in the cave-in is just not convincing enough to make you think he's the killer. But he probably could have been when it comes to the issue with Howard, because, like I said, the time that he goes off when Howard runs off and comes back is 30 seconds. So he actually he caught up with Howard, killed him, got him up that elevator shaft, came back down, and then rejoined the girl within 30 seconds. Talk about fast! But, yeah. Oh, but Patty then gets killed next with a pickaxe right in the belly. Sarah's the only one left, but then TJ shows up with blood on his side of his head, letting you know the cave-in did hurt him. they go to this like minecart train thing. They get started. It's not really going that fast. The miner jumps on. Miner's Axel. They have a shovel pickaxe fight. They fall off. The sheriff and the mayor and the posse are coming, fortunately, because they now got information. And they fall off the minecart train. The battle keeps going. Shovel versus pickaxe. When they go to this small tunnel that has a keep out sign, TJ picks up a tiny little piece of wood, throws it at the miner, just bops him. He breaks the keep out sign, follows him. The shovel versus pickaxe fights continues, hitting his stuff, knocking it over. The shovel loses to the pickaxe, and then Sarah hits the miner with a rock. And then when TJ's down, the pickaxe gets stuck. The miner pulls out the knife, but then Sarah grabs the mask, pulls it off. It's Axel. We have a flashback that reveals that Axel was the son of one of the supervisors that got killed, and he actually witnessed his father die, and somehow that traumatized him enough where 20 years later, when he saw the heart on a booby, it triggered him to snap, and now he's become Harry Warden. And once that dance canceled, and then the party, which to me is kind of dumb. I will admit, I don't mind the plot twist. I just wish it would. But to me, it just really kind of is stupid over that he just got traumatized from seeing his dad getting killed, and somehow that heart on the booby triggered him. Now, the remake did have, when the killer, we got some background information on the killer, where he was in a mental hospital for a number of years before he came back, kind of like the guy that replaced TJ in the remake. We do get background information about him going into madness. So at least the remake did something a little bit better, because I would have preferred more information on Axel before this, because this twist just feels like a last-minute change. The idea, that's just not enough. It needed more to me, like what the remake did. Now, when it comes to the remake, I saw it in theaters, and then I rented it, and then I have had no interest in watching it again. I did like the 3D in it, but in the end, I prefer the original over the remake big time. And, well, this one has a cliffhanger ending that to me was unnecessary, where after when TJ hits Axel with a rock, he falls over, there's a cave in, but when they discover that he's still alive, Sarah, for some reason, needs to see him. And, of course, they do let them know that's not Harry, and the sheriff lets them know that Harry died 5 years ago. They just got that information. When they tell it's Axel, he's like, it was on Valentine's Day when Harry killed Axel's father. Like, you knew? How come nobody else knew that? And that would have been a town knowledge, too. Yeah, they would have, hey, Axel, isn't Harry Warden the guy that killed your father? None of them say that. Yeah, this is another problem I have with it. This is why I don't mind the twist. I just don't think it was needed. Now, it ends with Axel cutting off one of his arms, then descending in back and saying, "We're coming to get you," like now revealing that he has multiple personalities. But a sequel was never made because they were obviously wanting to do a franchise. I guess that for the second one, Axel was going to have a pickaxe arm. Not a bad idea. But if I would have made this movie, I would have just made it Harry Warden. I would have just gone by the rule that when they contact the mental hospital, they find out there was a big fire, there were multiple bodies found that were badly burned. They're trying to get the identification on them. And he has returned, and it's not until after the party, when they all flee, and the posse's coming when they finally got the information that Harry's body was not one of the bodies, so that lets them know that he survived the fire and got out and is now returned to get that party canceled. And I would have just gone by the rule that when Axel when he falls off the water off camera, I would have just gone by the rule that Harry shows up, he and Axel fight, both of them go over, and they can't do anything. But then whenever the TJ, Sarah, and Patty leave, and then shows that Harry stuck his knife into part of the edge and used the pickaxe to catch the top and then pull himself out. And then when it comes to the big fight, I would have never had Harry unmasked. I would have preferred if he just would have kept the mask on. The flashback is the only time I think we should needed to see his face. I would have killed him, and I would have had him die at the end where he misses with a pickaxe. It's stuck on the wall. He pulls the knife out, but when they hit him with that rock, he falls and impales it through his heart to give him an ironic death. That's how I would have ended this. No cliffhanger. If there would have been a sequel, it probably just would have been like Scream. Every sequel is a copycat killer. That's what I would have done. But I still do love the film. It is enjoyable. Yes, I'm not a big fan of the twist, but it's not enough to ruin the movie for me. And I will say I love the trailer. The trailer's pretty good. The music's good. The atmosphere, the tone. But the poster, a few years ago, I got on paint on my computer and I just darkened over the eyes where you couldn't see the eyes, and I just posted that up because that, to me, showing the eyes on the poster, the mask, since we never see his eyes like that, that just ruins the whole look and just makes it look like a stupid horror comedy. This is why I think the movie only made $5 million. I think the poster's the reason why, because probably when people saw the promotion, they thought it was going to be a dead serious, maybe with some humor like here and there, like Friday the 13th. But when they saw the poster, they probably they're like, "What, seriously?" And thought it was a dumb horror parody comedy, and said, "Heck with that," and turned around, walked off. That's what I think happened. Probably isn't, but I guess we'll never know. It only made $5 million, and obviously that would tell you why we never got a sequel. We might get one day, but if we do, I would not bring Axel back. I'd just say that he died in the mine from blood loss, and then the new killer is a new guy, or killers. Well, still, happy 45th anniversary of the original My Bloody Valentine. Great film, just not a big fan of the plot twist, and I'm sorry guys, I do not like the poster. But still, I appreciate you guys making the movie, and I apologize for not watching it earlier. I wish I did, because I actually would have preferred memories of seeing that at least in the 80s, and especially the 90s. Once again, happy 45th anniversary.